Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
And we have with us Mr. Mackenzie Astin and Mr. Jason Lowe from the play Caught, right now playing at the Zephyr Theater. And just to give you a little background on Mackenzie, I'm going to read you a little something that I found on Wikipedia about him.
A trusted source of information.
Yes. Okay. Mackenzie was born on May 12th in Los Angeles, California, the son of actress Patty Duke and actor John Astin. His older half-brother is Sean Astin. He attended Ralph Waldo Emerson Middle School and University High School. Mackenzie made his acting debut in the TV movie Lois Gibbs and the Love Canal, but is probably best remembered for his television role as Andy on the popular sitcom Facts of Life. He has since had his share of roles in numerous TV shows, TV movies. I Dream of Jeannie, a cameo in Harrison Bergeron, which starred his brother Sean Astin. Neil Simon's Laughter on the 23rd Floor with Nathan Lane, and Widow's Kiss with Beverly D'Angelo. He made guest appearances on Brooklyn Bridge, The Outer Limits, Without a Trace, and House. And he has appeared as a regular in the NBC legal drama First Years with Samantha Mathis. Recently, he appeared on Lost as Kate's love interest Tom in a flashback scene in the Season 1 episode Born to Run. He's had his share of major motion pictures, including Iron Will, in which he starred in the lead role with Kevin Spacey in a key minor role.
I love that movie.
That was a fun job. Great job to have.
He also appeared in Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner, The Evening Star with Shirley MacLaine, and Whit Stillman's The Last Days of Disco. He worked from 2005 to 2010 with his father, the director of Theater Arts and Studies program at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland, and is currently working on the show Caught at the Zephyr Theater.
Wow.
And thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
Our pleasure. And you didn't mention Dream of an Insomniac.
Oh, Dream for an Insomniac. Yeah, that movie is
one of my favorites.
It's a terrific little picture that a young lady wrote and directed back in '94, I think. That has had tremendous legs. It has stuck around. It's a beautiful, beautiful love story, written from the perspective of a young lady. And there's a story that's sort of attached to the film that I like to tell when people bring it up, which is incredibly dear. The girl that wrote the thing did so as a love note, essentially, in real life, to a guy that she was with, but had been with, but was no longer boyfriend, girlfriend with. And she had this sort of secret hope that he would one day see the movie and know that she was still thinking about him. So she put a couple of things in the film that were direct sort of hints to him. We shot the thing in 95. It sat around for a little bit and didn't get released for a stretch. Then finally, I think Columbia bought it, recut it, and put some terrific music in it, and it finally came out. The guys saw the picture, saw the little hints, got in touch with her, and they are married today.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That was
worked.
a loaded piece of work.
Isn't
right
that
there.
amazing? It actually worked. And so, for as romantic as the story was, to watch, the fact that it actually worked, she made it happen. She made her dream come true. Tiffany DeBartolo was her name now. I don't know if she's taken her husband's name, but it worked, man. She set a goal and accomplished it.
The power of motion pictures.
Indeed.
I tell you.
Indeed.
Wow.
Power of art.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
true.
Well, guys, tell me about Caught. Let's start off with that, because I'm actually really interested in finding out how the project came to you, how you came to be involved in the project, and how you, Jason, came to be involved in the project.
Caught at the Zephyr Theater.
Caught at the Zephyr Theater.
That's right.
CaughtThePlay.com. Guys, tell me about the genesis of the show a little bit.
Honestly, the genesis, it was already up and running by the time I got to join. It had been up for about 2 months, I think, right?
Something like that, yeah.
When the character or the actor who was playing the character that I'm playing now got another gig on Broadway, and decided to go check that out. So they needed to replace the character of Kenneth, and it just came along as an audition for me, and thankfully I was able to get the part. But it started a long time before that, didn't it, Mr. Lowe?
No, it did. It started, so what was it? It was summer of last year. The playwright David L. Ray had written another play that we were doing at the Cherry Lane Theater in New York, and we did a brief stint there. And while we were there, we got a call from the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Center saying that David had been a playwright for some time and had written a number of plays around town, and got a call saying that they were doing a week of staged readings at the center, and they wanted to know and they knew that David had written a new piece, and they knew that subject-wise, it dealt a little bit with same-sex marriage. They didn't know anything about it, and so they invited us to participate in the week of stage readings. And so the stage reading, the week was mid-July of last year. And David had written the piece, but it was still evolving, and we wanted to produce it, but we weren't going to produce it. We weren't thinking about producing it actually till summer 2011 at the earliest. And so we did the stage reading, and it kind of turned into a backers. Like, it was very, very quick. And then the stage reading went incredibly well. We then set up another stage reading about 2 months later. We collected information off the stage reading. Then in September, we did a second stage reading, early September, and that went even better. And then we were able to pull the trigger, and then we opened in November, 2 months later. And we actually signed up only for an 7 or 8 week run, like most Los Angeles theater. And here we are, 7, 8 months later, and it's still going. And it's really just been amazing.
It's third extension, I believe.
Right. It's actually, we just announced the 4th extension this week, which brings us now till June 26th.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's great news. It's great news. There's plenty of time to come see it.
That's great.
Well, the message is definitely strong enough, and the writing is amazing, and the acting is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
There
That's
isn't
nice.
a dull moment.
That was great fortune for me to come into a project that was absolutely teeming with incredibly talented people, and to be able to get involved was just terrific. It was running on all cylinders by the time I got there, and thankfully everybody took enough time to get me up to speed, and we're still going, which is terrific.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
you guys are doing great.
It's funny. We were talking about it on the way in, that the sort of tagline that goes underneath the title is it's how does it go again, Jason?
It's a tale of marriage, love, and family values,
which I absolutely love, because it could be understood a lot of different ways. It is definitely about love, and I feel like the audience members leave the theater with a tremendous sense of love and hope, which is something that you don't necessarily take away from a lot of projects. And so, as an experience for an actor, the fact that people are walking away feeling fulfilled in a lot of ways is a tremendous thing.
Is that what attracted you to the role? Excuse me.
It's funny. It was just an audition that came down the pike. I recently just got back from Baltimore, where I was living and working with my dad, and it's funny how it works, but I got new representation, and I said to them, listen, I'd love to do theater, and they said, theater, we're not so sure about that, because it has a certain stigma in some respects. They were worried about me having time to do stuff for pilot season, so I said okay, and then I was about 0 for 40 on auditions, and they said, so how do you feel about theater?
Like a true artist.
And I said, I would love to do it, and so this happened, and before I knew it, we were up on stage.
And here you are at the Zephyr Theater. I believe it's Fridays, Saturdays, and Sunday nights?
That's right, 8 o'clock, and 7 o'clock.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about that when we come back on La La Land with Brett and Net. See you in 2 shakes.
They say the women treat you fine on Broadway. Looking at them just gives me the blues.
And then it's the bottom one that lets it.
Welcome back to La La Land. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking to Mackenzie Astin and Jason Lowe of the play Caught, now playing at the Zephyr Theater. That's caughttheplay.com.
That's right. Thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Now, Mackenzie, I'm going to get back to talking about Caught in a second, but I want to talk a little bit about your background.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because you have a real great lineage of actors.
I hit the jackpot with parents. I
You
really
sure
did. I
You
really
sure
did.
Well, first of all, shouldn't we congratulate him on his marriage?
Thank
he
you.
just
Oh
got
my goodness.
married
Yeah,
last
True.
month.
That's very true. I did. I got married on
And there
the,
is something that he
11th
wants
of
to
April.
tell to his honey.
There it is.
And it's right here.
Oh, thanks.
Hi, Boots. I love you. I can't.
That's
I'm,
perfect. Oh, that's absolutely perfect.
I'm challenged. I'm technically challenged.
No, you got it.
For the people that aren't seeing the visual of this, Mackenzie wrote a note that said, "I love you, Boots," to his wife, and
for
we got it up.
those of you who are lucky enough to be watching this streamed live on the internet,
That's right.
Yes.
you can see my penmanship.
That's right. It's beautiful. A true artist all around.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your
Thank you
marriage.
very much. Thank you very much.
And we heard that you haven't had a honeymoon yet because you've been doing COD.
Really? Yeah. We it worked out. It worked out perfectly, actually. Jennifer and I had decided some time ago that we probably wanted to just get married at the courthouse because it's it's a simple and inexpensive, and in this economy, that is something to speak
Oh,
of.
yeah.
Definitely.
And so
Buy a house or get a.
Right,
get married.
we had a weekend off from the show once we extended. I think for the fourth time, they decided to go dark for a weekend. So I snuck back to Baltimore to see my lady because I hadn't seen her in 3 months or so, and we really don't even remember who brought it up on the Thursday that I got back. But we thought, hey, let's do it now. So Friday morning we got a marriage license and made an appointment for Monday, the 11th of April, at 11 in the morning. We got married at the courthouse in Ellicott City.
What's with the 11?
It just worked out that way. There was the first available slot, and we were able to get it done, which was great fortune.
Very cool.
And then, as is this business of show, there was a call from my agents Monday night that said, "Hey, get back into town tomorrow." And I said, "Can't do it. Can they move the audition to Wednesday?" And thankfully they did. I didn't get the job, but I did get married.
Which is actually much better.
Oh my
Right,
gosh, so
actually.
much more valuable.
Surprisingly.
So the truth be told, we've sort of had a honeymoon of a relationship since we got together, and so I don't think we're missing out on too much right now. And when
course.
she's finished getting her PhD, she'll be heading out here to Los Angeles, and we'll continue our honeymoon.
Absolutely.
At that point.
What a wonderful woman to, it must be great.
She is the bee's knees. I got very, very lucky. I got as lucky with my wife as I did with my parents.
It sounds like it.
I'm going to go
It
ahead and
sounds
say
like it.
luckier because I know they're not listening.
There you go. Little plug for the wife there. Her name's Jennifer, you said?
Jennifer, yeah.
When do you and Jennifer have plans for a honeymoon after COT closes and after she gets her PhD?
Nothing
or?
officially. I mean, we're pretty easygoing, and so we don't have anything on the books scheduled, but except for driving her car back from Baltimore out to L.A. and we might have a little bit of time to spend sort of traveling the country, but we're also bringing Facebook, our cat, so we have to be cautious as to his feelings. I don't know if he wants to be trapped in a Honda for too long.
No, probably not. And I love that you named your cat Facebook,
Wow.
by the way.
It changes everything.
Oh my
I can
god!
imagine. I can imagine.
It's good stuff.
I was not ready for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're bringing Facebook? You're bringing your laptop? What's
That's
exactly.
wonderful.
Cool. So, all right. Well, let me ask you, because being son of John Astin and son of Patty Duke, did you ever feel a lot of like you didn't quite get the respect that you deserved as an actor because of that lineage? Did you feel like people maybe said,
Had to
well,
prove yourself.
yeah. Did you have to work harder?
That's a great question.
Yes.
It never. I don't believe it really entered into my consciousness much as a smaller child. And my parents were great in that they always they still continue to remind me that even though there is perhaps an easier entry into the business based on the work that they did before I was even born, the fact remains that if you get the job, it's your job to do, and so not really. I mean, and for most of the time, I was John Astin and Patty Duke's son, and then in around 2000, I became Sean Astin's brother because The Lord of the Rings came out and was so incredibly popular, and that's another terrific thing to be because you're in people's minds already. and that helps get work.
Absolutely.
But really, I
Absolutely.
think you're one of the most thoughtful actors there are out there. All of
Thanks,
your
Neti.
choices have been so thoughtful, and
I've been lucky. I'll get into it in a stretch, but part of that is by design.
We'll be back on lalaland.com with Mackenzie Astin and Jason Lowe in just a minute.
CRN Digital Talk.
On Broadway, looking at them just gives me the blues.
Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking to Mackenzie Astin and Jason Lowe of the play Caught at the Zephyr Theater. www.caughttheplay.com.
Come see it.
Come see it.
It's a good show.
Now, we had to cut you off before because we had to, of course, pay the bills and go to commercial.
Right, which was perfect timing. As I'm talking about it being, a business. This business is a business, and
Yes.
and so it only made perfect sense that we we should have to go to commercial.
Irony. Go figure.
I mean, come on, we're trying to make a living here.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you though, that's one of the beautiful things for me about this play and about theater in general is that there are no commercials. Once you get in that room, it is all about telling that story, and everybody's involved. There's no separation. There's no satellite involved. There's no screen that separates you from the audience. You're all in it together. And if I can speak philosophically for a second, that's the thing about this planet, is that we are all in this together.
Absolutely.
It's irrefutable.
Absolutely. And when you're in the same room, it's live and you feed off the energy.
It's sort of an agreement between the theater goers and the folks on stage that you're all committed to the same sort of ideal. We're going to tell the story, and the audience is going to listen.
Right.
Except for that one lady last night with the cell phone.
Oh, no. There's always someone with the cell phone.
Man, poor thing. I think it was an older gal, and she didn't know that she had a voicemail, but the rest of us did.
Oh, no. She didn't answer it on the...
No,
during
it
the
just
show.
beeped. It beeped the entire first act.
Oh, no.
It was amazing, but that's
That's live theater.
that's progress.
No? That's what you gotta do. That's what I love about theater too. Is it doesn't really last like a picture or a video or a film.
Right.
It lasts in people's minds, in their hearts. You know,
Right.
it's.
But of course,
really a
Jason
beautiful
walked
thing.
over to her and asked her to turn it off
Did
or
anybody
leave.
say anything?
right?
I would hope so.
At intermission, we talked about it. It was funny. There was a conversation in the lobby about someone saying, "Did you hear that cell phone beeping?" And as soon as the gentleman said that, we heard the beep in the lobby.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Taboo.
so whoever it was, they figured it out, and by the time the second act rolled around,
Right,
they'd turn off their cell phone.
There was no beep. There was no beep.
Little hard to stay in character with a beeping in the background. I can imagine.
It was a challenge for sure. It was a challenge.
It was intermittent, though. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't all the time, but it was steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50 15 seconds or so.
Oh no.
It was
Theater is live.
it's-
Everybody's affected by everybody.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And so we dealt with it.
Awesome.
I think it was probably most annoying for the other audience members.
Yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's
I
a
always
very-
make sure I have my cell phone off. In
Right,
theater.
that's
Try and-
so important. My dad introduces the plays that the students do at Johns Hopkins, and he is legendary for the speech that he makes before the shows. In fact, he pulls out his own cell phone and instructs people to turn theirs off as he is. So this is my cell
Very
phone,
nice.
and this is me turning it off. Please do us the same favor.
We need your dad at every show in Los Angeles.
Everybody needs my dad everywhere.
Need to have a screen pulled down with
Yes.
him,
John
like
Astin
on the
screen.
airplanes. Like you know
that's
what I
good
mean?
stuff. That would be hysterical. Oh.
Well, and as far as Caught goes, you're dealing with same-sex marriage in that show, and you worked on a show called First Years, where you were an openly gay character.
Right.
You got a chance to work with your mom in that show,
which was
who
great. She was nice enough to come down and play my mom
Awesome.
for an episode where Warren, the character I was playing, finally comes out to his parents, and it was a great experience and a testament to my mom's legend, if I can say it that way. That the day we did the very first rehearsal for the big scene, there were crew members on the set that I had never seen before. my buddy Timothy Busfield, who directed the episode, he pulled me aside later. He said, "Mackie, did you see all the people in there? They all wanted to come in and see your mom. Man, she's a Hall of Famer, Mackie, a Hall of Famer."
She sure is, and I tell you, some of those scenes, because your mom isn't accepting of you being gay in the show, in the show. And some of those scenes with your mom are just incredible, guys. If you have a chance, go on YouTube, look at First Years Mackenzie Astin, and check out some of those scenes, because that's real acting. I learned a lot just from watching
it. It was
that.
a good little show. It only lasted about 3 episodes. I think we shot 8. They aired 3. We were up against Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in its real heyday, when it was in full stride. So
with Regis,
with Regis in the monochromatic tie shirt. So we didn't have much of a shot, but we sure had a great time doing the show.
Was that your first time playing a gay character on?
I think that was the first. There was a movie that I worked on a couple years prior to that where the character pretended to be gay, but that was he wasn't gay. So yeah, that was my first experience with that, which was terrific for me. Growing up in Los Angeles, and especially with my mom, who is kind of an icon in the gay community. There was quite a bit of exposure to gay guys. They were my mom's best friends mostly growing up, and she was a real proponent for gay rights and for AIDS awareness. In the very early days of the plague, as it were, and so. It was nice for me to be able to embody a gay character, because I felt like there was a real positive influence from my childhood, from the friends that she had when I was growing up.
Yeah, and I can imagine it gave you some good experience for playing the character in Caught.
Indeed.
That you're playing now.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be back right here on CRN Digital Talk, talking to Mackenzie Astin and Jason Lowe of the play Caught. That's www.caughttheplay.com.
And you're listening to La La Land with Brett and Ned as well.
I'll see you in 2 shakes, guys.
They say the women treat you fine on Broadway. Looking at them just gives me the blues.
Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
We're talking to actor Mackenzie Astin and producer Jason Lowe from the play Caught at the Zephyr Theater.
So lucky to have them.
We are very lucky to have them.
It's lucky to be here. It goes both ways.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when we left off, we were talking a little bit about lineage, and I'm kind of curious. Were your mom and dad pretty supportive of your choice and Sean's choice to be involved in acting?
Absolutely. Yeah. They were cautious in some ways because of their own experiences. My mom missed out on a lot of her childhood, and so they wanted to make sure that we didn't have an experience that was unfair to us without our knowledge. But once they were aware that it's really what we wanted to do, they were fully supportive.
You started at 8, correct? Your
8
choice.
or 9. It was funny actually. My brother started first. He and my mom worked together on an after-school special for ABC in, I don't know, 82 or 83. And I went down to the set one day to visit, and I saw my brother getting a whole bunch of attention, and I thought, wow, this is something that I would like too.
My turn, Sean, my turn.
Exactly. And so it wasn't too long after that I was able to start auditioning for stuff, and wasn't too long after that I was lucky enough to start working.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you of course continued working. From there you went to the Facts of Life.
Yeah, that was a great gig. Really lucky to get at 11 years old, and work steadily until I was 14.
Any crushes on any of the girls from?
All of them.
Of course.
But not at the same time.
No, of course. Depending on the day of the week.
Indeed.
Awesome.
And the weather.
Yes.
But I really feel like there is something that sets you apart from your lineage, which is interesting. I read a quote of yours. I don't know. I could be, but let me know. It says you used to get flack from agents because you didn't want to play parts with violence. You never wanted to be a villain. I mean, like that in general. So you would just turn it down because you didn't want to romanticize violence on television. Or, I mean, that's pretty amazing.
There were a couple of experiences that I had that really sort of led me in that direction. I mean, it occurred to me as a relatively young child that a lot of people. A lot of people sort of believe in what goes on
Yes.
screen a great deal, and they take from it. I mean, I know I enjoyed playing Army men and cowboys and Indians a bunch when I was a youngster, and that didn't come from books I was reading. That had everything to do with what I was seeing on TV. And at a certain point, I think it was during the first Gulf War, I realized that. I didn't necessarily want to play. I didn't want to play somebody who was a hero because he had to use a gun. And granted, there are a couple of jobs that I have taken where indeed that takes place. And that's where this business is kind of funny, because at a certain point, how did my dad put it? You have to dance with the devil in order to pay the rent.
Right.
And so there were a number of jobs that I turned down when I was or job opportunities, auditions really, that I turned down because I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be somebody who later in life had someone come up to them and say, "Hey, man, when you raped that girl in that movie, that was just so great. I really thought that was, neat." And I didn't want to be that guy. And and thankfully, I've been able to get away with that. On on a personal note, I that stuff certainly sells.
Well, I mean,
I don't know how much good it's doing, really.
Wow. But as an actor, you probably want to be able to play the villain and everything. I mean, everything's so juicy and,
They do say those are the good parts. And my dad's advice whenever I've gone in to play, the bad guy on something, to audition to play the bad guy on something, his reminder is, remember, even the villain likes himself. He thinks he's doing the right thing. And so that's something that's. Well, it's funny as there's I think growing up with parents who were successful and seeing the effect that their success had on the people that they encountered throughout their life sort of gave me a different perspective on what it really means to be a working actor in this business, because what you do has an effect on how people behave.
Yes.
Literally, it does. And so I was really cautious for a long time about what I even wanted to go in to audition for, because people really, You are a role model in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And it's not just what happens off screen. It's I would say primarily what happens on. Now that's a very easy position to maintain for someone who maybe wouldn't be the best guy to play the villain, as almost as a justification for not even making the attempt to fail for those auditions. But.
I think it's all relative. It's how you see yourself. I mean, that's a true artist.
It's interesting over the last 20 years or so how much of an influence show business has had on the youngsters, and not just show business, but the video games and the music videos and stuff like that. And I feel like. I feel like if you can be responsible in the choices that you make, then you're certainly going to sleep better at night. Unfortunately, the diet that people have in terms of their entertainment consumption these days is, filled with a lot of what I like to label trans fats.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people shooting each other in a lot of different movies, and.
That's great that you have your line that you will not cross.
Well, that said, I have a family now, and there's someone I have to take care of, and so
Sure.
If I walked out of here today and there was a job offer for someone who was a bad guy, I might have to take it, and that's where. That's where this business can be interesting like that. I think even just saying that, who knows?
Yes.
Who knows what next week will bring?
Right.
And you actually, I understand, for a few years became a little bit disillusioned with the industry.
Sure.
There's a quote from you that I have here where it says...
This goes back a bit.
Yeah. There was a period when I became disillusioned with the politics of what goes on in show business. My mom had missed a lot of her childhood, so I figured it would be a good time to hang up my acting shoes. I was probably reading too much J.D. Salinger at the time.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
So-
I would like to amend that. I don't think it's possible to read too much Salinger.
No, not at all.
I was probably trying to get cutesy at the end of that quote, and I have long wanted to explain it. So this is a good opportunity.
Okay. We got about 45 seconds.
All right,
Go
here
for
it goes. I believe it's The Catcher in the Rye, where the bad guys are the phonies. And I discovered at around 14 years old that something, well, that in this business, people will tell you one thing when they mean another. It's a business, you know. Sure, we're trying to make people laugh, but it's a business, and so what you see is not necessarily what you get. And I sort of learned that the hard way.
Hold that thought. I want you to talk more about that when we come back on La La Land with Brett and Net on CRN Digital Talk.
Looking at them just gives me the blues.
Welcome back to La La Land on CRN Digital Talk. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin.
That's Jason Lowe.
And that's Mackenzie Astin.
Wow. I don't have to say a word. I don't have to say who we're talking to. You guys have done it yourselves. So good times. So we're going to go to a call right now. We have Mary from Vermont on the line. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for calling us.
Well, I wanted to call in. Is this your first show?
It is.
And this
It
is
Well, I
Holy
wanted
Mary.
to call. It sounded really wonderful, and I wish you a lot of luck with it.
Well, thank you so much. I know that you call into the Bob Conrad show sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Did you? We're talking to Mackenzie Astin. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask him while you're on the phone?
Well, I'm not sure. I guess just I have missed some of it, but I wanted to know what he's doing right now.
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Mary. I'm working on a play, a lovely play called Caught. It's at the Zephyr Theater in Los Angeles on Melrose Boulevard. You can find it at www.caughttheplay.com. That's CAUGHT. Unfortunately, as of now, we're just in Los Angeles, but you never know. There's been such a good response that we might find ourselves in a state like Vermont before too long. How's the weather out there?
It's just starting to get nice. It's been pretty cold and pretty rainy. But today was beautiful. I think we're all in shock.
That's a good shock to be in.
Yes, it
Shorts
is.
weather. Shorts weather, right?
Yeah, just about there.
Oh, God.
Well, thanks so much for calling, Mary, and
Well,
feel
you're
free
welcome. I
to
just
feel free to
wanted
call
to-
us anytime.
Okay,
Thank you,
take
Mary.
care and have a wonderful time.
Bye, Mary. Have a
too.
great day.
Bye, Mary. She was nice.
She's very nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe she's Holy Mary.
That's what they call her?
Yes, Holy Mary.
Yes, I believe Bob says she goes to church every Sunday.
that what
and,
it
and
is?
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Well, and thank you, Mr. Robert Conrad.
Yes.
Uncle Bob, for letting us on.
We had a chance to talk to Bob
Was he-
Conrad last Thursday.
Such a cool guy. He got up and he danced for us.
Fantastic. In the studio here?
Yes.
On,
Yeah.
on one of these tables or on the floor?
Right here. He
of
got up
standing
right
there.
here and did a little jig.
Right on. Way to go, Bob Conrad.
Yeah, he was looking
Thank
good.
you. Yeah, yeah.
So, guys, we are about out of time. We got a couple minutes left. Did you want to talk about anything that's coming up? Is there a place where people can find out about Mackenzie Astin? Is there mackenzieastin.com?
No, not. I mean, not
like
not anything that I'm personally involved with. I just I started tweeting not too long ago, and I'm picking up a little steam with it. It's at Mackenzie Astin. If you feel like following.
We're on at La La Land Talk, so we'll follow you.
Absolutely.
Perfect. And I suppose at some point I'll probably have to get a Facebook page, as because it's sort of the way things are done these days. You gotta stay with the times.
Absolutely.
But right now it's just a Twitter feed for my own personal stuff.
I believe you have a like page on Facebook, a
Is
fan
that so?
page. Yeah, you
Wow.
got 100.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
we have you
wild.
on there. You can actually find it on our page.
Okay.
That's facebook.com/LaLaLandTalk.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we're also on twitter.com/LaLaLandTalk. Might as well throw in the plug while we're talking.
Great.
That's right. Mackenzie Astin, thank you. You're one of the most modest, talented people I think I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I just so,
Thanks, Neti. Thanks for having us on.
yeah.
It's an honor. Honestly, it's really great to
Well,
talk to you.
likewise for
and-
your first show. I mean, that's fantastic. That's really
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's really exciting for us to be here.
And
Thanks, guys.
Exciting for us, memorable. We'll have this forever. Thank you.
It's on record now.
Like a dollar bill.
That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah.
Again, that's Mackenzie Astin and Jason Lowe from the play Caught at the Zephyr Theater, playing now through.
June 26th.
You'd be crazy not to see it.
You would be in its fourth extension, the longest running show currently playing in Los Angeles, caughttheplay.com. And we will see you next time on La La Land with Brett and Neti. That's Neti Leddel.
And that's Brett Chapin. This is CRN Digital Talk.
See you at the top, guys.